Traffic? Yes. James Harden, 34 points, 12 assists, and that's a 7-point lead. But the Bucks were not going quietly into that good night. Down 3 with 5 to go. Loose ball finds Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez finds a 3. We're all tied at 110. A minute 20 remains. Tied at 119 now. Drew Holiday in the lane, no good. Giannis, yes, he had 34. Bucks a 2-point lead. Ensuing Nets possession. James Harden, he doesn't just shoot. He dishes. Harden finding Joe Harris for the 3, and the Nets take a 1-point lead. Back come the Bucks. A minute to play. Same score. Chris Middleton. Yes, Bucks take the lead back. Good game. Nets get it back. 45 seconds remaining. Durant probing, kicking. Harden, no good. But he gets his own rebound, and he finds Kevin Durant. How pretty is that? Durant drills the 3. Durant 30 points, 9 boards, 6 assists. Just over 10 to play. Nets leading by 2. Looking to seal the win. Durant, oh, it's poked away. Durant turns it over. Bucks get a chance. Down by 2. 3.8 seconds to go. Where are you going for a game-winning bucket? In they go to Middleton. Middleton contested. Oh, man, look at this. As we show you the replay, and that one rims out, Giannis Antetokounmpo is going right down the middle, and he is all alone. But Middleton can't find him. Up goes the shot, and it's no good. And the Nets hang on to win in game number 2 for James Harden.
We were young in Oklahoma City. You know, we're grown men now. You know what we want. We really know the game of basketball now. You know, we're not those young guys that just run around and want to just shoot and dunk all day. We know the games, we know spots, we know, teams plays. We're more advanced.
Pretty much seen every defense, every offensive scheme. We done been in every type of game, playoffs, game 7s, so we done been through a lot in this league, experienced a lot. And for us to bring it together now and combine what we've learned over this time and try to play great basketball, I think it was pretty seamless for us.
So this is the stat of the day. Harden and Durant have combined for 138 points in their first 2 games together in Brooklyn. It's the second most combined points. And for teammates in their first 2 games with a franchise in NBA history, only Wilt Chamberlain and York Larisi had more. By the way, Larisi had a combined total of 12 of those points. Wilt had the rest. All right, let's bring Tim Legler into the conversation here because it is fascinating to watch them, and they don't even have Kyrie yet. So, Legs, I know you have a little tape on the new-look Nets. What are you seeing?
Yeah, well, look, James Harden and Kevin Durant, this might be the greatest pairing of just raw offensive talent that this league has ever seen. And what James Harden does is he occupies guys. I think he, Steph Curry, and LeBron James are the 3 guys that get defenses to occupy multiple defenders more than anybody else. Here's an example from just last night. James Harden occupies 2 guys at half court on a simple ball screen because you're that worried about him. Joe Harris just runs to the open spot and hits it. This one fascinates me because it's early offense. You have 4 defenders rotate to that side of the floor, and all eyes are on him. You lose sight of Kevin Durant, who gets the easy one. And in here, his ability to just beat his individual matchup, in this case, is Drew Holiday, one of the best defenders in the league. And he leaves him in his rearview mirror. Now he's in the lane. Get that backline defender to come up, and you make the game easy for DeAndre Jordan. So it's just his prowess as a guy that will win every individual matchup in front of him. And then he's also going to force an overcommitment defensively. And then what that does to the guys on his team, it just makes the game easy. And right now, Joe Harris, DeAndre Jordan, even Jeff Green, the game is really simple for them. Just find an open spot and wait, basically, because James Harden is that good at breaking defenses down. And I haven't even talked about Durant. He's the guy at the top of the food chain on this team. And he just gets his seamlessly whenever he wants to. But the fact that Harden is getting these defenses to shift, Greeny, to his side of the floor, it's just going to make them so lethal some nights and really no answer defensively for what they bring at you.
And that's right now when they are a dynamic duo. But how about when they become a trio? When you add Kyrie to this mix, what happens?
Very difficult for me watching that game, imagining Kyrie Irving on the floor, because I loved the flow that they had. And I talked about those other role players getting great opportunities. Well, when you now add another guy to the mix that's a ball-dominant player, I think the flow is going to be interrupted. And Kyrie's put himself in a little bit of a tough spot here by missing the beginning of this, because now you feel like the pressure is going to be on him to figure out a way to make sure that this thing stays humming the way that it has for the first 2 games. And you almost feel like he's being set up to fail. No matter what happens, Kyrie Irving is going to be the guy that people are going to point at, regardless of how he plays, if they start losing games or if this offense slows down. So I just think it's, when you look at this team and you look at the pairing of these 2 guys in Durant and James Harden, I like this team the way it is, but unfortunately, that's not how it's going to be. You're going to add another supreme elite scorer to the mix, and it's not just the fact that he's a great scorer. It's the way he gets it and the number of dribbles he takes and how he has to continually break his guy down in order to make it happen. I just wonder what is going to happen with the opportunities that the supporting cast gets. And I don't care what anybody says, you're going to need those guys to play at a really highly efficient rate. They're doing it with two ball dominant guys. You add a third one to the mix, it's going to get a little bit muddled out there. I'm fascinated, like everybody else, what it's going to look like.
They are going to be and remain the most interesting team in the NBA, however it goes. Legs outstanding.
By 23, their largest win of the season. Kyle Lowry, efficient, 9 of 12 shooting, 23 points, one shy of his season high. And for the first time since February of 2010, the Spurs had 4 players score 20 points or more in a rout of Portland. You see Damian Lillard there. He had a game-high 35 points in the loss, but too much out of San Antonio.
We also had John Morant and the Grizzlies facing the Suns. We'll pick things up game tied at 98 with 1:13 remaining. Morant driving, slings a perfect pass to Grayson Allen. In the corner, he drains the three. Beautiful. Look at this again. The nice move by Morant and dishing it to find Allen. Talk about finesse. We're hyped. The bench is hyped. Grizzlies take a 3-point lead. Next Suns possession under a minute remaining. Devin Booker misses the layup, but DeAndre Ayton cleaning that up with a putback dunk. Ayton puts up 18 and 16 rebounds. Suns trim the lead to 1, and then 35 seconds left. Grizzlies take it back. Morant with the drive finishes to put the team up by 3, but keep your eye on him because he gets back on defense. Chris Paul now pushes the ball up the floor, and Morant draws the charge. Clutch plays from Morant down the stretch. He goes for 17. Grizzlies hang on to defeat the Suns.
Those two look good together, don't they, Tony?
They do.
Net games. James Harden has been in Brooklyn for 2 games. His impact already being felt, certainly with Kevin Durant. According to Elias, Harden and KD are the first teammates ever to each score 30-plus points in each of their first 2 games together with a franchise. They've also increased the team's overall offensive efficiency and have scored or assisted on 84% of the Nets' points in the 2 games. All right, let's bring in Tim Legler to talk about this. Legs, Brooklyn 2-0 with Harden in the lineup. Defensively, not getting a lot of stops, but on the other end, I mean, they're virtually unstoppable. What have you seen from Harden so far?
Well, look, this guy's ability to just occupy so many defenders is going to make the game so easy for his teammates. He's just a guy that passively can attack at any point and win his matchup. So when he beats his matchup and he draws multiple defenders to him, he simplifies the game for other people. I'll show you some great examples of this in the game last night. An opportunity here to switch. If you're defensively, you have 2 guards involved in a pick and roll, just switch that. But because it's James Harden, you get 2 defenders to linger near half court, and now Harris just runs to the open spot. It's an easy pass and catch and knocks down a 3-point shot. Here's another example. Transition, comes up the floor. Look at the way 4 players overload to his side of the court, and all eyes are on him, and that's going to lead to a Kevin Durant running free and get the easiest bucket he'll get all season. And then finally, I talked about him winning his individual matchup, and this is against Drew Holiday. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, and Harden just puts him in his rearview mirror, gets downhill, draws the backline defender, and makes the game easy for DeAndre Jordan. I think in this situation, when you have this kind of firepower paired up together, somebody has to take the role of lead facilitator. It's going to be James Harden. Kevin Durant isn't worried about his flow being interrupted because he's just too talented and it comes too easy for him as a scorer. But James Harden is the guy that's going to have to set the table for people. And in the first 2 games, it's exactly what he's done. He knows he'll get his points and he'll get his buckets, but he has to make sure that those other role players get their opportunities, and that's what James Harden has done through 2 games. And at times, like you said, David, this offense is unguardable when you have 2 of the best offensive players who have ever played in this league out there at the same time. Man, good luck defensively trying to come up with a game plan to slow it down.
Okay, all good for the first 2 with Harden and Durant, but now you insert Kyrie into the lineup. He's expected to be back for tomorrow night's game against the Cavs. Legs, you know the histories, you know the skill sets of these guys. How do you think it's going to work with 3 alpha scorers on the floor at the same time?
Well, I was watching the game last night, and I just kept trying to imagine Kyrie out there, and it was almost unimaginable to me when you have another guy added to the mix that is that dribble dominant. And now I think the flow does start to get affected. Because, look, when you take the ball that percentage of the time out of the hands of a James Harden or Kevin Durant, it's going to be much more difficult, I think, for that team to operate with enough ball movement and inclusion of your role players, understanding that they're going to get opportunities as well to take pressure off of these guys. So it remains to be seen. He's talented enough. You can't say it can't work. But at the same time, it's hard to imagine, based on what I've seen from the first two games, adding a third ball handler to that mix.
That's the anticipation.
To have a real feel to your offense. And that's the problem. Kyrie's created a little bit of a problem for himself now because you've seen a team in two games look unguardable on one end of the floor. You add Kyrie to the mix, it's going to become a little bit more muddled. He's obviously a great talent, but that's not what this is about. It's about pieces fitting, and it's about the role play.